my name is Reva Frankel, and my concentration in Gallatin is called Miscommunication, Language, and Literature. So what is the most abundant thing around you in this room right now? People. The relationships you have with the people to your left and right may be substantial or fleeting, but either way, at some point tonight, you will communicate with them. Now don't try to ignore the person next to you to avoid fitting into the statement, because by doing so, you are inevitably communicating. You are showing that you are hostile and uninterested, and your neighbor can tell exactly that from your crossed arms and lack of a smile. Now, I don't know if any of you watch the television show House, but the protagonist is a diagnostician who is famous for his unconventional methods and his lack of trust in others. He often says, "People always lie." As an aspiring doctor, I don't plan on following House's practices, but I do think there is some truth in this statement. Maybe unintentionally, but there is likely some omission or some factor you are even unaware of that could affect how a doctor best treats you or how you best express yourself. This semester, I am working on a paper on emotions and relationships in The Red and the Black by Stendhal, a 19th century French author. The novel centers on Julien Sorel. The description of Julien tells us that his father was a peasant who cannot read, and yet Julien loves books. But the complete picture of Julien comes from this description in conjunction with the narrator's thoughts on Julien and his relationships with the other characters. In one scene, Julien is waiting in the garden for Madame de Renal, a woman with whom he is about to begin an intimate relationship. Julien is overtaken by her beauty, but the narrator is more skeptical. Stendhal writes, "But if Julien had been in love with her, he would have seen her behind the half-drawn shutters of an upstairs window. This modest and appealing beauty seemed to reveal to Julien an aspect of his own soul of which he had never been aware." Okay, so there are several levels to consider here when you're analyzing this passage. First, there's a relationship between the reader and the narrator. The narrator shows us that Julien is not in fact in love, and that he doesn't have a complete grasp on his own emotions. Second, there's the relationship between the reader and Julien. So when you all go home tonight and get cozy in your bed and start reading The Red and the Black, I think you'll feel the same connection to Julien as I did as he struggled to understand his feelings for Madame de Renal. However, in this passage, there's also a gap between the reader and Julien, because we are also privileged with the knowledge of the narrator. So while we sympathize with Julien, we also know that he doesn't fully understand himself. And third, there's a relationship between Julien and Madame de Renal. Their relationship has had to overcome numerous obstacles due to their different social classes, their different ages, the fact that Madame de Renal is both married and very shy, and the fact that neither of them had previously experienced an emotionally fulfilling relationship. So as we step back, these levels help us to begin to understand the complexities of these characters. The relatedness of Julien to the other characters is integral in this understanding. So now picture, you're sitting in a medical office, talking to a doctor, and you're explaining your ailments. You are expecting that the doctor can synthesize these smaller details you're telling him into a larger, overarching explanation of the cause of your symptoms. Doesn't this sound exactly like what we just talked about with Julien and Stendhal? Studying literature has taught me vital skills for the medical field. As a doctor, I plan to act as Stendhal's narrator, helping my patients come to a fuller understanding of themselves by understanding the relatedness of their symptoms and situations. Last semester, I went to Costa Rica for a week, where I was working in a medical clinic for children. So obviously they speak Spanish in Costa Rica, and I do not speak any Spanish. So communication at first was very challenging. But soon, we began playing games like hide and seek and Simon Says, and it really didn't matter that we didn't speak the same language. In this situation, the children and I literally spoke a different language, but I was still able to distinguish between their various personalities. In life, even while we're speaking the same language, oftentimes you don't understand each other. This is due to our varying modes of expression and our and our different contexts. In the red and the black, Julian is not fully self-aware, but he also lacks perfect communication in his relationships. But don't get discouraged. The differing methods of communication is the cause of diversity. Relatedness allows for understanding, but if we each approach other people with the understanding that we all express ourselves in different ways, the inevitable miscommunications can be thrilling.